Hi, this is Renee Stanley for Movie Review Relay, and today we're talking about Elio. Elio is made by Pixar, and it's about this 11-year-old who loves outer space. Anything about aliens, he's into it. He's almost obsessed with it. Now, he's inadvertently beamed up to a communiverse, and this is a place where all of the interplanetary aliens or characters come together, and he's mistaken as the leader of Earth. The kids and parents alike appeared to really enjoy this film. They loved taking the kids there. They loved laughing with them. The music was fine, but more so the young people loved the colorful characters. And I'll tell you what, it's rated PG. It runs 1 hour and 39 minutes. And the parents enjoyed that 1 hour and 39 minutes right along with the kids. Do you know the kids were loving this picture? It's animated. It's by Pixar. And it's about Elio, who's a space fanatic. He loves the outer space, aliens, the whole thing. And he gets inadvertently beamed up to a universe that they call Communiverse. Elio is perceived as the Earth's leader. So now he forms bonds with all of these different alien life forms, and he decides who he wants to be, how he wants to be perceived. It's an interesting premise. I like this movie. Pixar always makes such wonderful, colorful gems, I have to say that. Zoe Saldana voices Elio's aunt. Brad Garrett is Lord Grygon. Jamal is Costa. We got some interesting actors that are voicing these characters, and the kids love this in the summertime. Every parent is going to take their kids out to these cartoons, these animated pictures that come out during the summer. Elio is directed by Madeline Sherifian, Dumi Shai, Adrian Molina, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Elio easily comes up at a 3. Give it an extra star. If you love Elio, like there's no tomorrow. Elio is distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. 28 years later. I just want to say one thing first, guys. This is not a sequel. This is almost a reimagining because these zombies are more like distorted, half hybrid humans. You know how people have diseases and conditions that evolve because of their environment? It's almost the same thing, like a mutant. Similar to that, all right? I also want to mention this is a good looking film. You're going to see this long causeway, this long stretch of land that's surrounded on either, well, on, you're going to see this long stretch of land surrounded on either side by water. And then they do a long shot. So breathtaking. Good looking film, good cinematography. All right, so if you remember the 28 Days Later movie that was released in 2002, and then you enjoyed the 28 Weeks Later movie that was in 2007, you're gonna love this. This film stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ralph Fiennes. Danny Boyle is the director. Danny Boyle is back at the helm as director, as I said earlier. 28 Days Later, he directed in 2002. He's a highly accomplished director. This man has 10 Academy Awards a nomination. He's won 8. So people love Danny Boyle. I think you'll enjoy this movie. Cillian Murphy is not acting in this film. Of course, many people loved him in the first film. Cillian Murphy serves as the executive producer, and you guys remember him from Christopher Nolan's Batman, but he's so much more. Cillian Murphy did win an Academy Award portraying J. Robert Oppenheimer in the Oppenheimer movie. So this gentleman is very acclaimed, and a lot of people enjoy seeing him on screen, but this time he's serving as the executive producer, and that's going to bring additional credibility to the film. So what's going on here is it's 28 years after the rage virus has escaped the medical laboratory. Survivors have found ways to exist amongst the infected. A father and a son leave the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, where they discover the secrets. And at the later portion of the film, you will see all these hideous scenes of these zombie-like creatures. You're going to see all of these awful, awful hybrids or dysfunctional, distorted, I should say, people life forms. The makeup artist did a wonderful job making these life forms hideous because they are evolving and a lot of them are trying to survive even though they're infected. Jodie Comer plays Isla, a woman who is suffering from memory loss. Her husband is played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and he's a scavenger and he's her husband. And what's going on here is there's a little son, and he's not really that little, he's like 12 or 13. His name is Alfie Williams. He plays Spike, and their son goes along with the father. And I always hate to see that because you kind of know someone's not coming back when you see a father and son going to an unknown situation. But that's okay. It was an interesting combination, a little family unit that breaks up for a moment. But I also wanted to mention that Jack O'Connell, who we last saw in Sinners, he played the cult leader, the vampire leader in Sinners. Well, he's playing another cult leader here. The same kind of thing where you have a dark past, you're not really sure what his past is. They explain it as the movie progresses. I could tell ya, but I know you don't want me to spoil it. Okay. But yeah, Jack O'Connell is in this picture as well. You have Erin Kellyman as Jimmy Inc. He's a member of Jack O'Connell's cult. It's an interesting film. Another member of his cult is Emma Lord. Edvin Ryding is playing a NATO soldier who's assigned to the North Sea Patrol. Shy Lewis Perry is Alpha, and he's a leader of the infected. 28 Years Later is distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. The Life of Chuck. When you understand that this film is based on a novella of the same name by Stephen King, your first thought is, oh my goodness, it must be frightening or scary. No, I think most people who understand Stephen King have seen him write so many different types of genre. Stephen King has written Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption. There's a whole bunch of films that are not necessarily horror that Stephen King has made. He's so talented. But in this particular film, he seems to be determined to write about the life of this man, Charlie Chuck Krantz. The first portion of this film, you feel as if the world is going to end outright. And you see throughout the movie, especially beginning, Charles Krantz, 39 great years. Thanks, Chuck. The entire world, at least this entire community, is celebrating this man's life. And that's why it's called The Life of Chuck. And then over the course of the film is divided into 3 segments. Each segment of the film is divided and separated by title cards. This way you can keep up with the order of the film. The Life of Chuck begins at the end of this man's life and progresses backwards. And then it goes forward his middle portion of his life, and then as a young man, a young boy. And it's how he impacts people in his community, his family, and eventually the world. This one life. There wasn't that many people in the theater, but the few that was in the theater were a little underwhelmed with this movie. I don't know what they expected. The movie is fine. It's a great coffee movie. Don't expect any action or horrors, jump scares, the whole thing. No. The Life of Chuck illustrates how this one life affected the world, his environment, his family. And it does involve a lot of dancing, to say the least. Many of the audience members, when I questioned them, would they see it again? They said no. So I'm sure you could find some people who absolutely adore this film. There were none in the audience viewing that I attended. Throughout the film, you're going to see Chuck have some deaths in his family, and of course that affects his life. It also affects the life of his grandfather, and you'll see that part, which is maybe why he drinks so much. Okay, you will enjoy this film because it does serve to reflect on a portion of life that many of us don't want to look at, and that's the end of time, the end of life, and also the enjoyment you might have during the period of time you are here. It's a very pensive and thoughtful film. As I said, just be prepared to just enjoy this nice almost 2 hours of drama. But for whatever reason, the grandfather is an accountant. There is something that happens. The grandfather is raising him at this point. And the grandfather's, I want to call him a drunk. Okay, I might have to. But anyway, Chuck to be an accountant like him. But who wants to be like you? He's no fun, the grandfather. Okay. That's played by Mark Hamill, who we love. Okay, does a wonderful job. And Chuck Krantz is played by Tom Hiddleston. Tom, we love him in Loki, all these Marvel pictures, you know. He plays such a different character. Here he's very subdued. And I'm going to tell you something, he dances quite well. I was surprised because a lot of this movie involved dancing. There's a segment that's very extended. A girl is playing the drums. You'll see it, and he's dancing his butt off. So you're going to get some smiles and chuckles, but I'm going to tell you now, the other guy is in it too. Do you guys remember Chiwetel Ejiofor? He was in the Doctor Strange Marvel movies. Okay, anyway, he plays in this movie as well. The main character, Tom Hiddleston, is only in the picture, I would say 20 minutes whole. Yeah, he's not in most of the picture. However, his presence is substantial. It's the center of the story. You'll enjoy this. You're not going to come out emotionally drawn, I don't think, to any of these characters in this film. This film is based on a novella, so I'm sure you guys know that's a very short piece of work. And for there to be made a movie that is 1 hour and 51 minutes takes some writing. I'll admit that. It's narrated by Nick Offerman. You hear the narration as the movie progresses. It's directed by Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan also wrote the screenplay. This movie focuses on the human condition. The Life of Chuck is distributed by Neon. The Unholy Trinity is a 2025 American Western. The Unholy Trinity is rated R and has a 93-minute runtime. It's written by Lee Zachariah, it's directed by Richard Gray, and it stars Pierce Brosnan, Samuel L. Jackson, Brandon Lesser. I'll first start off by saying I'm always nervous when I see a Western and it has a black star. Remember Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman? Didn't end up too good for Morgan Freeman. Remember that? And I tell you why, if you know anything about American history, not that any time is optimal here in America, but that was extremely difficult. This movie is set in the 1800s. Sam Jackson enters the town as a mysterious stranger who is connected to a young man named Henry's father, who is hung right in front of us. If you're going to see the Unholy Trinity, you're going to see it for its cast. If you love Westerns, good for you. But you have a stellar cast here. Pierce Brosnan, aging like fine wine. Samuel L. Jackson, aging like fine wine. And a good-looking Brandon Lesser, who plays Henry. Henry's father has been hung. He's carrying his father around in an urn, but he's trying to find out who killed his father so he can get revenge. As you know, in the West, it's the wild, wild West. Everyone has a gun, and they're shooting people as well. He goes into the town. He thinks it might be the Pierce Brosnan character. We find out, though, there's a misidentification. I'll let you see it. Soon after, we meet Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson is, like I said, one of the few blacks in that town. He might have been the only one. But my point is, he knows Henry's father. And guess what? I'm sure you know he knows who killed him. There's lots of twists and turns in this film. Pierce Brosnan is the current sheriff, and he appears to have a moral compass and a certain level of kindness and compassion. He has this good-looking wife, and they're taking care of a young girl. But there's some activities that happen prior to the climax of this film that are very dramatic, very soap opera-ish, but very common in the genre of the Western, and it deals with the ladies of the night. You know what type of ladies those are. And of course, lots of violence, because that's what the Wild Wild West is about. Now, people asked me about David Arquette. He's in this picture playing the father meaning in a religious capacity. He's not in the film that long, guys. I have to tell you that. Yeah, we love David. David is our sweetheart too, like so many of these actors. But he's not in the film that long. Tim Daly's in the film. I'm not going to just say who gets an early demise and who doesn't. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of shooting in this picture. So if you're gun shy, you can't take these Westerns. It's not for you. However, if you love a good Western, saddle in. This one is for you guys. Sam makes us nervous. We're always afraid of him. But you're going to see his character's enigma until the film reveals much of its twists and turns. And then you'll find out which guy is a good guy, which guy is a bad guy, which guy is deceitful, and which guy is being truthful. But I'll just say, Henry, your father was into something that you didn't know about, and it involved some gold. All right? 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. The Unholy Trinity easily comes out at 3, and give it an extra star if you love Westerns like there's no tomorrow. We also have great cinematography and great direction by Richard Gray and distributed by Roadside Attractions and Saban Films. Braveheart is a comedy action film rated R. It stars Rebel Wilson as a secret agent who serves as a maid of honor at her best friend's lavish wedding. And then the wedding is taken over by mercenaries. The film also stars Anne Camp, Anna Klumsky, Divine Joy Randolph, Gigi Zambando, Stephen Dorff, and Justin Hartley. Braveheart is directed by Simon West. Braveheart is rated R and runs 1 hour and 45 minutes. Now, this movie, Braveheart, is silly, it's farcical, but when I say that, it's not to be negative, not really, because many comedies are like that, or like this film. So you can get a couple of chuckles here and there, regardless of how silly you think this film might be. So, if you're a Rebel Wilson fan, it's a must-see. However, if you're in the mood to just relax and have a couple of laughs, because it's not really that funny, there's a lot of slapstick, you got a lot of shooting and goings-ons. The plot, of course, is far-fetched, convoluted. However, there can be a good time to be had here. Some films are just that silly, they make you laugh. They're so ridiculous in nature of the plot and of the execution. So don't just dismiss this film. If you're in the mood to see something light, you don't want to do a Western or something with a lot of blood and gore, this could be for you. Very relaxing. As I said, not the best plot. I cringe to think about rating it because I don't like to give anybody's work a bad rating. A movie, someone worked on it. It's somebody's baby. Don't call their baby ugly. All right? So think about seeing our girl, Rebel Wilson, if you have the time and the patience. And enjoy your weekend. Until we meet again, it's Renee Stanley for Movie Review Relay. God bless.